Sami's Law is one step closer to becoming an actual law across all of the US. What is this going to mean for passengers and drivers, as well as Uber and Lyft? And that's what we're talking about right now. Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's updates to what's going on, news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what actually happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. Last week, the House of Representatives had passed a law called Sami's Law, which now will go to the Senate and probably have a vote. So whether it becomes a law or not, it's up to the Senate now to decide exactly what is going to happen. And the bill is aimed to increase safety amongst passengers when using the Uber and Lyft platforms, which we all know safety is good, but the question then remains is, will it also help driver safety? And that is still a major concern when it comes to drivers as well. So this is the CNET article that I'm going to be referencing, and it's titled House Passes Sami's Law, Named After Woman Killed by a Fake Uber Driver. Link will be in the description below, so if you want to check out this article and read it in full, then you can. It says, under the law, which now heads to the Senate, Uber and Lyft would have to adhere to the new safety guidelines. And yes, safety is a main concern for passengers and drivers whenever you are getting into a stranger's car. It's always kind of been that way. And yeah, there's always some sort of issue that's been going on. We hear it in the news. We hear it all over the place. So yes, there is needing more regulation when it comes down to it. But the question is it just on passenger side, or will it be on driver's side as well for when it comes to safety? So it says the U.S. House of Representatives unanimously passed a bill called Sami's Law on Wednesday that's aimed at making ride-hail services more secure. Can't argue with that. That's always a good thing. The law was named after Samantha Josephson, a student killed by a fake Uber driver near Columbia, South Carolina. Sami's Law, which now heads to the Senate for a vote, would require companies like Uber and Lyft to strengthen their ride matching technology so that trips couldn't begin until riders and drivers confirm each other's identities. Now, if you want to stay till the end of the video, I'm going to give you exactly how that could have been done a long time ago, and yet still they don't do anything about it. So why do we need laws put in place before Uber and Lyft will change any sort of policy? I don't understand that, but I digress. So going on, it says Sami's Law was authored by U.S. Rep. Chris Smith, who's a Republican congressman from New Jersey, where Josephson's family was from. It's bittersweet. Josephson's parents, Marcy and Seymour, said in a statement, "We'd much rather have Samantha sitting with us here on the couch, but to create a law so nobody else gets hurt is a good thing." And again, I completely agree with that. You don't want anybody to get hurt ever, whether it's on either side of the platform, whether you're a driver, whether you're a passenger. Nobody should get hurt. The ride-hailing industry has been plagued by safety issues for years. Hundreds of passengers and drivers have come forward alleging sexual assault during rides, and several lawsuits have been filed against Uber and Lyft by people saying they were raped, kidnapped, or groped by the service's drivers. But here's the other thing. About 50% of all of these things are also done by passengers to drivers. So this is where some of the issue lies, because if you looked at Uber's report that they did when they had their safety report, which came out last year, it said around 50% of all of these things happen from drivers to riders, and the other 50% is from riders to drivers. So yeah, there is a major concern for issue of safety, but it also needs to be equal playing field and equal level when it comes down to it. And then it says both companies have also had multiple issues with people posing as drivers and picking up unsuspecting riders. And yes, that is a problem as well. So Josephson unknowingly got in the wrong Uber car late on a Friday night in March 2019. 14 hours later, the 21-year-old was found dead in a wooded area about 90 miles away. Police later found that the child safety locks in the car were activated, which likely stopped her from being able to escape. And it was a very horrible tragedy, exactly what had happened. And I can't imagine what their family had to go through and endure, as well as continue on. Very sad story, absolutely. And Unfortunately, things like that do happen, and they can try to take steps, but you got to make sure both parties are just as equally safe as well too, because it brings up the question, well, why can a rider provide fake names? They're not verified, nothing like that, but drivers go through background checks, a lot of different things like that. So yeah, like I said, it needs to be on both sides of the coin there. So along with making ride-hailing technology more geared towards safety, Sami's Law would establish a 15-member advisory council that reports to the Secretary of Transportation to advance safety standards in the industry. It would also make it illegal to sell any ride-hailing signage or stickers, so anything you could buy on Amazon would have to go away, so anything like that. Additionally, the U.S. Government Accountability Office would have to create reports on incidences of assault and abuse during rides and examine the effectiveness of the company's background checks on drivers. And again, that's only 50% of the issue. The other 50% is still riders doing this to drivers. Where's that? And Sami's parents began pushing for comprehensive new protection policies at Uber and Lyft and the legislation to ensure to the maximum extent possible that no one else ever loses her or his life or gets assaulted by a rideshare driver or predator who pretends to be one. Again, what about drivers' safety as well? They have been critically important part of the often tense negotiations with multiple stakeholders, including Uber and Lyft. So both Uber and Lyft have partnered with Josephson's and their foundation, hashtag What's My Name. We all know the issue with that. It needs to be a two-way street because drivers have to verify who they're picking up as well. And unfortunately, they still give fake names, and we all see the videos of what some passengers will do to drivers, and they can't find them, so they have to look to the news to try and figure out who these people are to try to actually identify them. Big problem right there. The foundation focuses on raising awareness about passenger safety and pushing companies and lawmakers to create policies that make rides more secure. And again, I have no problem with that. I think that's great. It's good to have more security and more peace of mind whenever you're getting into somebody else's car. So don't think I'm not knocking on that at all. I agree. I like that there's more protection. But part of the goal is to get people to ask, what's my name, before getting into any car. And again, is a lot of controversy behind that, and there can be people who can use that and scam drivers thinking that they don't have to provide their name to verify who they are getting in the car, and that's one of the issues right there. So Sami's Law is another step on the ongoing work to help improve safety on the rideshare by leveraging education technology. Daniel Burr, Uber's head of federal affairs, said in a statement. Burr added that Uber remains committed to doing its part to help keep passengers and drivers safe. Lyft Senior Director of Public Policy Dan Katz said Lyft will also prioritize safety on its platform. So now this bill is going to the Senate, and it will probably likely pass, although, again, anything is possible. They are going to be voting on it next. When that is, who knows, but it could change the game of rideshare when it comes down to it. Now, one of the things that both Uber and Lyft could have implemented a long time ago, and I have no idea why they haven't done that, is a PIN system. It's a very easy thing that all the passenger has to do is provide a PIN number to the driver. The driver puts in the PIN number, and voila, it works, and you can proceed with the ride. I don't know why they haven't implemented that as a mandatory thing, because it's going to get rid of a lot of issues when it comes to the wrong rider getting into the wrong car. They're going to know exactly where you're going. You know you're getting in the right car. You know you have the right passenger, so you can't get scammed down the road because you got the right PIN code. And there's a lot of other issues that could be solved with just by instating a PIN code that is mandatory on both platforms. It's a very simple thing, and Uber actually has it, but most people either don't know about it or haven't set it up because it's not a main part of the program and the app. And I think that's something that should be mandatory. And again, I think, yes, it will be great to have more security and safety, but you also have to make sure that you have a level playing field when it comes to both drivers and riders, because about 50% of the things happen on riders to drivers and drivers to riders. So you can't just do part of it without worrying about the other part, because then you're going to obscure it. So that's one of the issues that I have when it comes down to it. Now, if they have some sort of verification process, either snapping a shot of an ID to make sure that you know who that is for a rider, or if there's some sort of issue, they're able to identify and pass that information along to police. They don't need to have their correct name or anything or information going to the driver. If I still saw something like Big Daddy or your mom or something like that, if I knew that everything was verified and vetted, then it wouldn't really have that much of an issue when picking somebody up. I would probably just get a laugh at it and say, oh, there you go, whatever. If you want to have a nickname, that's cool, nothing wrong with that. But at least on the back end, have some sort of verification, so then at least if there's some sort of issue that is a safety concern going towards a driver and the driver has to report that, then they are able to either figure out exactly who it is, they're able to kick them off of the platform and make sure they stay off of the platform instead of just creating a fake account or something like that. So it would give more advantages to both parties getting into a vehicle and having it safer. Now, what are your thoughts on all this? Comment below, let me know. What do you think could be better safety measures that Uber and Lyft could instate before something like this is even going into law? This is something that I think they could be at the forefront of fixing safety. Why does it take a law or a bill to make any sort of change whatsoever? That I've never understood. But I want to know what your thoughts are, so comment below and let me know what you think. Now that's the end of this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, your delivery drivers, and your shoppers. And we'll see you next time.